Hello.
Hi, Mr. Tut, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. I hear you want to apply for a job here at Generic College University.
That is true. I would like the teaching position.
Oh, the history teaching position.
hmm
Okay. Well, to start off our interview, why don't you tell me about yourself?
So, I am King Tut. I am the restorer of traditions, the ruler of Egypt, former pharaoh, known as the Boy King. I'm quite the popular person. I completely reunited all of old Egypt, and restored it back to its former glory after my father did some not so great things.
So you're like an influencer?
Oh, very much so.
Okay. So if you don't mind me asking, you were an influencer and very popular and glorious and no offense to history teachers, but why would you want to become a history teacher? That's a step down. Or three, four.
Well, o- okay, you bring up a really good question, but you see, the way I see it is that I'm no longer pharaoh. I'm old king. There's a new ruler, but I still want people to know my legacy. And so I feel the best way for my legacy to live on is to teach it to the youth, the young generation, give them my legacy. Not only that, but I have knowledge from that time since I was the ruler. So I think it fits perfectly.
I have to agree. I think the youth of today have lots of potential. Um, why don't you tell me about your teaching style then?
So I like the very traditional teaching methods. I'm not a whole fan of this new stuff, like all these everything's online, stuff like that. I'm more of the traditional sense. I like to, give kids good old pen and paper, write stuff on the board, let them take notes like that, And now some people might not agree with that, but I really think that the traditional methods, don't fix something if it's not broken.
Mm.
Of course, I'll incorporate it in with more modern, but I like to stick more towards the traditional methods as I feel like it really suits teaching and it will just be a lot better for me to express myself in the class and be able to give them exactly what I want them to know.
So, in the beginning of the interview, you mentioned a lot of the things you've accomplished, but out of all of that, what do you think your greatest strength is?
Probably my great leadership skills. I was a pharaoh for 10 years. And not only that, but I ascended at the age of 9. That's why they call me the Boy King. And yet, at the age of 9 and 10, I was able to rule all of Egypt. And not only that, I was able to unite the two sides that had been divided from my father and restore the traditional culture to Egypt. Not only that, but I was able to do extraordinary feats and make new monuments for gods. And so, if I can do all that, if I can like lead the entirety of Egypt at the age of 9, 10, imagine how well I could lead a classroom.
Hmm. Okay, I have to say, Mr. Tutt, it's looking very good for you. I'm sure all of that experience of 9 years. How many years did you say you ruled?
10.
10. I'm sure that 10 years of history, you could cover a lot with that as a history teacher. So, but what's your greatest weakness? Weakness. You've talked a lot about strengths, but what about your weaknesses?
Well, I see myself as not really having many weaknesses. I'm still young, bright for the future, but I guess that would be my greatest weakness in the classroom is that I'm young. I'm only 19 years old. And so I might not give off this sense of respect or like demand respect as well as someone who's older. And I might not be as wise or look as like important as like these old college professors that you have. However, I do think that it allows me to, make a connection in the classroom because I'm the same age as them. It allows them to be more open to me than to some other older person. It allows them to see me as more of a comrade rather than a teacher. And I think that would be great for them because a good relationship with their classroom is a great working environment and will allow the students to prosper.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. And I don't want to keep you for much longer, so I have one last question. Would you tell me a time where you were like able to successfully manage a project with a team and how you would apply those skills that maybe you learned from that experience to the classroom?
So I'd have to go with my main achievements during Pharaoh, as I recreated a bunch of new monuments towards the gods, and I restored a bunch of old ones that had decayed and been destroyed throughout the years. Not only that, but I built many other memorials throughout my reign, and was able to just restore all these great monuments, memorials, and temples to the gods. Um, and I led that project leading by leading through the priests and my advisors, and I was able to accomplish that greatly. So I would say that if I'm able to give them a great and concise plan to fulfill these improvements and restore the temples and stuff, I'd be able to do that in the classroom as well with my projects, like the final semester, like the final projects for each semester. I think I'd be great in planning out those projects and giving it to the students in a way that's understandable and clear.
I have to say, Mr. Tut, all your answers have been very insightful and thoughtful. And so I won't keep you any longer, so I'll end the interview here. Thank you for coming in and applying, and I will give you a call when we have your answer.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss
No,
Olivia.
pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too.